Howdy, y'all. Tesla is going up a whole bunch today. We're going to go over the reason why right after this. So Tesla today is up a whole bunch. At the moment, it is at 195.26. It's going up and down a little bit there, a little bit consolidation, but right now it's up $26, almost 27, up 16%. As y'all can see, it was up even more earlier. I'll back the chart off a little bit so y'all can see that it has gone up tremendously from pre-market hours. And we'll go back to the past 20 days. When I got in, it was at 150 on the downswing. I did not get in lower. I was thinking it might drop even lower and I'd buy more and more shares. But what I got here is sufficient for me because we're already up quite a bit. So I'm very happy with that. We're going to get into some of the reasoning. We're going to go through some of the news. We're going to go through some of the technical analysis of the stock chart itself. So let's get to it. So early this morning, we all got the news that Tesla cleared major hurdle in China. This is for their self-driving car, their testing. They're trying to get further and further along with that. I'm not going to read all this, but it kind of does summarize what went on. Obviously, any of us that are watching this stuff constantly, we were all keeping peeled eyes on this one. It was just really big news. And we're going to skip down a little bit. So Tesla will team up with, I don't know how you pronounce it, Beidou. I've heard it on the news already, but I forgot how they pronounce it. So for mapping and navigation on full self-driving assistance for drivers. Bloomberg, Reuters, all that stuff reported, blah, blah, blah. And it just goes on. You got to skip some of this stuff. And they're just coming up with all these different models. We go on. And it's stored all kinds of fleet data. And it just keeps going on and on. So it's all this stuff that they're getting into in China. I was not getting into Tesla for this reason specifically. Yes, we all know they have their cars, and that's what a lot of people focus on. But they've been getting more into the batteries for homes when you're charging it with either solar or any other means of renewable energy, and it's storing it up, or you're getting power from the lines and storing it in case there's a power outage in a huge battery at home. They make those too, and they're expanding out in that direction with batteries as well as different charging stations, and I'll show another chart going over that in a little bit. But it's not just cars. As some of y'all may have seen, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, he said why he's getting into it's because it's a technology company, but it's a data company. It's not just cars. They're storing all this data. They're using this for future applications. It's not just here and now. There's a lot of forward-looking stuff, and I think that's really good. I've not gotten into Tesla before because I wanted for it to be down and for people to settle down about Tesla. Because before it was all the craze and it's just too volatile. Yes, could have made money on it, but I don't like jumping into a ship that's being rocked constantly just by people being on a whim of this or that. That's not my thing. Done that plenty before, and I'm trying to be a little bit more on the conservative side of being more mindful for longer term investments, but also if this were a day trade, I could do that. But I wanted to see where this could go. This particular stock, I wanted to see where it could go a longer term. And this kind of stuff is what I'm looking for. It's not just for one day. Obviously, yes, if I sold it today, would it be a great profit? Of course it would be. There's no doubt. But I want to see where it can go. Would love it if they paid a dividend to help with that, but they don't. Oh well. I remember everyone telling me, oh, you trade stocks left and right. You should buy Tesla. You should buy. I don't do what other people tell me to do. I'm not their puppet. I'm not their personal trader. I don't do that. I trade what I feel is right. I don't do what someone that has no idea what stocks are, what they say because they saw something in the news because they heard someone else say it. There's absolutely no reason I should listen to them. If they say, hey, this sounded interesting, I will of course look into it, and I did. But with so many people going in and out of it, just because it was on a whim. I was not going to take that risk. Could have made money, sure, but I feel better about myself the way I play this game. So this is something that was unexpected for me, but is a great booster for this stock today. It's up $27, over 16%. It's looking great. Let's get to another chart. Alrighty, so this is on a website. It's the Aurora Report. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. ARORA Report. And they have a really good chart, and they have some things pointed out, and I wanted to show y'all. One time I really considered getting into Tesla was when Ford decided to use Tesla charging. That, to me, was a big step. I didn't get in, just it didn't feel like the right timing. I'm glad I didn't, and that was a while ago. And if I move down a little bit, it was May of last year, and it was really cool that they're doing that. And I agree that was right at this level, and it kept going up. Rivian to use Tesla charging, all great, but then they had their earnings and down, up, down, and their trend line was not looking good. And I just really don't care. Everyone's all into Tesla, and it's a lot of people just trading it because they heard something about it, or it's just because it's technology and they don't really know what's behind it. I don't like jumping into that boat. That's just not for me. If some of y'all study stocks and you study the history behind stocks, I forget the person who it was, but the day of the crash, the Great Depression, he was walking down the street, major investor, owned a lot of stocks, and he was talking to a shoe shiner that he had shining his shoes. And the person was saying that they're going down to buy stock because everyone else is. And at that moment, he realized everyone's getting in it and they have no idea what they're doing. He sold everything. Next day, everything crashed. So for me, I do take that to heart when people are jumping into a particular stock and they have no idea what they're doing. So like GameStop in the pandemic, AMD, all that stuff. And people are jumping in just because other people are. I don't like that. That's a huge red flag. And I'm glad I didn't because I would have probably held on a little bit longer and I would have been caught in this downturn. I don't want to be there. So this resistance line, it came here and we can see the skips. We saw a little consolidation. It was up, down, so it became a support, it became resistance, and it just goes up and down. And I was not even focused on Tesla whatsoever, but it just kept dropping. And for me, the reasons it was dropping wasn't making sense to me. And at that point, that gets my appetite really going. Why is it dropping? People on the news, reports that I'm reading, they're just not making sense. And it's not that they say, hey, this doesn't make sense. It's just to me, when something doesn't make sense and people, in my opinion, are making stupid decisions, I want to capitalize on that. I want to take advantage of that. It's scheming, it's plotting. As the song Wall Street Trader, it's scheming, plotting. Nothing is too cute. If you see people that, in your opinion, are making stupid mistakes and you can make money off of it, I say go for it. That's what I do. If someone's gonna be willing to make a terrible trade and I can sell a lot of shares or buy a lot of shares from someone making a pitiful trade, I'm gonna do it. And I have no remorse from it because that's them doing it. I do me, which for me is making money. And so we're gonna get into this area. We can see 160 and 140. I bought in this little bitty area at 150. Me personally, my next area that I would buy, I had set at 125 and 120. And then I was setting it down lower about 100, which that number should be 100. I had it set down there if it really dropped. I was not expecting it, but I was just protecting myself to buy a lot more because there's no way people are going to let this go. I just know they can't. They won't. I knew it was impossible. And it jumped up as soon as China approved their their big report of all their cars going to be able to do self-driving. I've watched several small little documentaries on what they're creating, and it is quite interesting. I would not get in one at this moment, but I know lots and lots of people would. People trust this technology. I don't, but I know a lot of people do, and I'm starting to get more on the trend of when I know someone else will buy something, even if I won't buy it, I want to get in on it to a certain extent. I will not put everything in there, obviously, unless it's something I would do, and I know a lot of other people do. But I will put a good chunk in here. And I'm very happy I did it at 150. I do not know where I'm going to sell this yet. It has crossed my mind multiple times today that I should sell, but it keeps going up, and I'm being a little greedy right now. So I'm just going to keep it. I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to watch the ride. If it goes down, well, that's my fault. But if it goes up, then it's a good move. 240, I don't even want to stop at 240. I want to be greedy on this one. I want it to go up to where it was at 400. Can that take several years? Maybe. Can I sell it at 240 instead? I might. It depends on how I'm feeling about it, what the news is. So we're going to see on how all of our little indicators are doing. We're going to be watching everything on this. For me, I have to be on top of this game. I don't just buy something, let it sit there and not watch it. Even if something's long term, I watch the news on it. I read articles on it because if something comes up that tells me I need to get out now, I'm going to get out. If something tells me I should double down and buy twice as many shares, I'm going to do that. But this one I want to be a little extra careful on because they could have China say like, no, all these cars are crashing. We're not going to have that, and it's going to plummet past 100, possibly. I'm making this up, but what if that does happen? I need to be ready for that. I need to be ready to sell. But also, if that happens, I want to be ready to buy again because I know people love Tesla. People want to be in these driverless cars. People want this stuff. It's like all the people that want to go to Mars, and it's millions and millions and millions for a one-way ticket. So people are definitely willing to get into cars that drive themselves with no humans involved. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on this. I will let y'all know what I do, whether I'm selling shares, buying more, what's going to be going on. But this is big news for today. If y'all are watching the stock market in any capacity, you will know about this. If not, then I can tell y'all the news. But this is absolutely huge for the day, and I'm happy I avoided all this mess. No stress in here. Could I have made money? Yes, but right here is where I'm starting to get greedy. Look at those jumps. I will say that I'm expecting a bit of a sell-off eventually before it goes up more. People are going to want to capitalize on this. Anyone that's bought it or had it for a long amount of time and it jumps above their cost basis, they're going to want to get out. So see where this support line is, this resistance line. Earnings right here, people that got in right here, if they've been holding this for too long and it's not looking good on their portfolio, they're going to want to hop out right above this resistance line. Especially if that becomes a support, they might just get out because their portfolios, depending on how their shape is, they might want to get out, move funds around, sell half of it, what have you. So I am very aware that that is quite possible. I'm curious to see if that happens. It's just like the 7 a.m. sell-off. When things are great, 7 a.m., people sell off to capitalize a little bit. I don't care about that. I'm not caring about super duper short term. Say if I bought something at 6:30 and the 7 a.m. sell-off, I'm not expecting it to be too bad on a normal day. And it's the same thing here. I am expecting a drop. So we will see what happens, and I'll let y'all know what happens with this. Hope y'all enjoyed the video.